You're starting to like this tune.
We need some more tunes, though.
Yeah. Get some Guns N' Roses in there. Morgan Wallen.
That'd be copyright infringement.
It would. Got to get, non-copyright material for these. All right, you ready to get going?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to talk
morning.
about, yes, good morning. Good morning. So whoever is able to join us, we'll post this as well. But we are going to talk about, there's been a lot of talk about Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson lately. And so Tucker put out this piece that basically kind of talks about why Fuentes has become so popular. And so I think it might be interesting for us to talk about, get a woman's perspective and a guy's kind of a traditional conservative man's perspective, being myself. Because I do think this is interesting.
And since we have two boys.
Yes. And we have two Gen Alpha boys, but yes, like there's a shocking amount of young men that are getting attracted to this ideology. The Groypers, like the Fuentes sort of following, they call them Groypers. You know this?
Oh,
okay.
I haven't heard this.
So it's like his MAGA. It's his MAGA.
I don't think Groyper sounds that good.
Yeah, but nonetheless, that's the term, and they're very loyal, dedicated, and he's got a huge following. And so I think, it's interesting to talk about why that is. And we've got two young boys, so we're wondering, what direction are they going to be kind of moving in? And we take a lot of this journey with them in terms of what they see, what they're interested in, try to think critically about like what ideas are better versus others, who's extreme, who's not, all that. But ultimately, kids will kind of like decide their path, right?
Did you ever go through a point in time where you thought differently than your household when you were raised?
Religiously, yes.
Okay.
Religiously, but not politically. I think I was just brought up in a household that believes strongly in personal responsibility and that you can succeed if you put in the work, and that welfare states are not productive way to do things. I had teammates, and so you'd see people that don't carry their weight, whether it's in school or in sports, and I think I was just sort of conditioned to not get pulled into that sort of social justice liberal ideology thing from a pretty young age. But religiously, I kind of broke away from I was brought up very traditionally Christian, Lutheran church, and I just had a lot of questions about it. And then interestingly, circled back through a lot of things that have happened in our lives. But how about you?
We didn't talk politics at home.
Yeah.
So
I think it's less common with girls at home.
Yeah, we've talked about this before where we're like, maybe the mindset is the men lead. And it was me, my sister, and my parents. And so my dad was a hard worker for sure.
Yeah.
And so politics was never brought up. And I guess it became more, maybe since I met you, it kind of became more and more a topic that we would sit and talk about.
Well, because these things impact our lives, especially as parents and raising kids and working and paying taxes and how do we save and, buy a home or a bigger home, or
how do you guide your kids to think for themselves and not depend on government? So try
to teach them.
I think that's a good analogy though that you had of like a sports team, like that any kid can relate to that. There's always going to be not the slow poke, but like the kid who's just lacking and is dragging the team down.
I think I even became more convinced in college that more conservative viewpoints, personal responsibility. So I was maybe a rare one because most kids go to college and they come out more liberal. And I would definitely say my professors were leaning in that direction. But I just found it frustrating when I would have let's just say a team project. And there's always somebody that would rather go out and party and let everybody else do the work,
not pull their weight.
I had the same thing with roommates that just refuse to clean or take out the garbage or do anything, and I didn't want to live in filth. And so the answer was I either live in filth like the rest of them or I have to clean up for all of them. That was, And so I was like, oh, I don't like socialism. Like this isn't my thing. Or like I had my own, let's see, at one point I had my own bathroom and I kept it clean because I didn't want to live in filth, and other people didn't. And so then people started using my bathroom. And I was like, well, hey,
use your own.
Yeah. Like use your own. Well, like why? Like why can't I use? So it's very like it makes things real.
Yeah.
In terms of, I put in the work to take care of the thing, and then other people wanted to use it because they did not put in the work to take care of their thing. And so I found that frustrating because we each had the exact same opportunity to keep a clean kitchen, bathroom, all that, and they just chose not to. So there's elements of that have stuck with me.
Okay. My college roommates were great. I don't think I ever ran into any issue, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I mean, yeah, totally different than your experience.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But anyway, we're back.
We digress.
Back talking about Nick. And
so
why people, what are they called? Groypers?
Groypers. So I've watched some of his content. I watched him. I have pros and cons about Nick Fuentes.
I never watched him until the first Tucker interview.
Yeah. He's interesting. He's charismatic. He's smart. He knows history. Like I watched recently a debate with him and D'Souza about
Dinesh
D'Souza about basically Iran and Middle East, and I mean they were both great. I don't know that anybody was like necessarily outmatched in this, but I definitely like took back an appreciation for, because Dinesh is really like smart and knows his history, and I was pretty surprised how well Nick kept up with him on history, which is okay. I found it pretty interesting. But generally, like the shows that I've watched of his or tuned in on, I'm still struggling, and maybe I just haven't seen the right one, but I'm still struggling to see like what is the roadmap for the Groypers. Currently, what I mainly see is just complaining about anything and everyone. Everyone sucks. Everyone's an idiot except me and the Groypers, right? So I think that's like a little bit challenging for me because it's easy to criticize. It's harder to actually put together a plan. And so when they say America first, I kind of understand what that means, but like fundamentally, policy-wise, what would we do to start chipping away at that besides not giving any more money to Israel, which is clearly a fundamental like framework of theirs. But yeah, so I can see why people are attracted to his message because he's charismatic, he's well-spoken, and he's smart, and he calls out obvious things that we're all like frustrated with.
But he's not giving a plan of
But action. I'm not getting the plan. I'm not really getting the plan. It's easy, like I said, it's easy to criticize. It's not as easy to do.
Well, it's also easier to someone who's like and angry, and you can latch on because you're like, yeah, I feel that too.
Yeah.
So it's just like an emotional attachment.
So let me ask you, as much from what you know, why do you think young men are attracted to his message?
Oh, well, I did watch the Tucker interview yesterday where he spoke with Nikki Haley's son.
Yeah.
Kind of gave an interesting perspective. And actually everything he covered, which went from people who hate these white men, who I don't know the statistics on who's following Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking it's mostly kids and his like whiteness and his age group, right?
Yeah.
And it's spot on about they talk about people who've degraded the white boy. So like Gen Z.
Yes. White men have become the villain in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though like they founded America.
Yes. Now you could say a lot of things about white men, but they did found the country, built the country, settled the country for the most part. Yes, we use immigrant and slave labor. Yes. So like none of that's necessarily good, but
it's used all over the freaking world.
But these are also the same white men that ended slavery. That I think more white men died freeing slavery than blacks. And so there's a lot of people that have given up a lot for the freedoms of minorities and women's rights. And so there's undoubtedly a lot of benevolence to the white man as well. And if you want to live anywhere in the world that has the most freedom, where is that? In predominantly white Western cultures, right? So I think like this is where people are like, well, he's got a point. Like he's got a point. But he also says things like he admires Hitler and Stalin.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. You can admire those people. It doesn't mean you admire them because they killed millions.
Yes,
There's other things of leadership, discovery. I don't know. Like everybody immediately goes to the worst thing possible.
Yeah. And so I just think it's like judgment wise, that's a weird thing to say. However, I think he's very smart in terms of like, oh, I will say this. A bunch of people will come and tune in to see why I would say something like this. And then they hear more of his message. And then he gets an attachment rate out of that for people that want to engage with him further. So I think it's like a rage bait, hook them, bring them in, and then he gets people into his kind of cause that way.
It could be. Well,
because otherwise those are kind of ridiculous things to say. And yeah.
I feel like I put some clips from the Tucker interview.
Should we bring them up?
The first one, it's kind of what I'm talking about of these white boys have been hated against. And this clip that Tucker brings up was from the 2020 election. So that's like 5-6 years ago. So imagine like being told this for that long.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
They've been mocked and attacked and lectured and harangued and screamed at. Every bookstore in America had books on display. Whiteness is the problem. Well, what if you're white? What if you're like 19 and you're thinking about how do I make my way in this increasingly competitive, maybe even ruthless country? And everywhere I go, people are telling me I'm bad because of the way I was born. What effect would that have on you?
Yeah.
And then you flip on the tube or the internet, and all these people with big jobs making big salaries who have the implied moral authority of their positions are telling you you're bad because of your skin color. And by the way, this is not a guess. Here's an example.
We have systemic racism in the United States of America. It exists today, and it's a white man's problem. White men are responsible for it, not black men.
And we have stood by to see mediocre, mealy-mouthed, snowflake white men who are incapable of taking critique, who are willing to dole out infamous repudiations of the humanity of the other, and yet they call us snowflakes, and they are the biggest flakes of snow to hit the earth.
American history is one in which white Americans, by and large, have been taught to have indifference or even contempt for black life. We have defined the country as a white nation where people of color are here on a guest pass.
1 in 3 Americans are racists. 1 in 3 Americans are terrified that this country by the year 2040 is not going to be majority white.
There has been no oppression for the white man in this country.
She is crazy.
And don't let it escape you.
Oh my gosh.
That it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle.
Oh, Miss Crockett. Did you see the recent thing with her? She said, Epstein gave money to all these Republican people, but it's not the Jeffrey Epstein.
She's like, well, I never said it was the Jeffrey. I said it was
it was Jeffrey Epstein, not the Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. And
I'm just like how?
She wouldn't take any ownership of like, yeah, whoops, my mistake. She just wanted people to know that they took money from Jeffrey Epstein. So ridiculous.
It's unbelievable what these people do.
That y'all are the ones being oppressed.
Wake up, white men. What the fuck is wrong with you? And you're just eating it up. Oh, my God. Look at what they're doing. All of a sudden, my heritage is going to be over. That I want to live in a country where white kids go to white schools and white people marry each other.
I don't know. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't really know people who think like that.
I don't know anybody that talks like this.
All of those people on the media, I have never heard that amongst our group of friends against, the layer outside of it. Walking down the street, never hear that stuff.
Never. These people are insane. And they're using racism as clickbait and grifting and ways to emotionally extort people in society. And I think a lot of people have had it. They're like, nope, not anymore. Not falling for it again, Don.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just not it's not true. Like, of course there are, like, it's more difficult maybe for some people than others in this country, but it's, they're going too far.
So. Well, when they implemented all these DEI policies, like colleges and whatever, it's a level drinking playing field.
Let's fight racism
with more racism.
Let's fight suspected racism with actual racism.
I forget what I was listening to, but
it's weird.
An HBC, so a historically Black college, actually has a DEI professor.
Of course they would. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense because an HBC is only for Black people, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting because,
it didn't. I was like, wait, I'm totally missing something on here. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was
so all of these people basically villainizing white men.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, like, boy, white men have done a lot for this country, quite a bit.
Well, it's so, like,
if you're a white man growing up in this country, which is the largest demographic of young men in this country, like, how do they feel when they turn on the news and this is what they see?
Well, it's like, think of a mentally or verbally abusive relationship. If you keep repeating this over and over, especially to these young boys who are still growing, and they're just going to instill that in their mind, and they'll have that hatred for themselves. So I do feel bad that all these politicians, or even superiors, like they say, these big corporations, people who are high up, they know the moral high ground, yet they fall for this DEI SHIT. So I get why, yes, they are turning their backs towards government.
Yeah, so they're frustrated. Young men, white men are frustrated, and it's pretty clear why. And so I think, yes, Fuentes basically highlights this, illustrates this, and maybe takes it to even further extreme in terms of, like, he'll talk about the future. He thinks the future of the country should look kind of like it does now. What I've heard him say is he's not against having minorities in the country, but if we fundamentally change the demographic of the country in terms of ethnicity and religious faith, that we could have problems. So, for example, right now, if we are mostly a Christian nation, but we have Islam and we have Hindus and we have, Jewish traditions in this country, that's all fine. However, if that shifts and we become primarily a Muslim country, well, now are those votes going to be changing, the fundamentals of the Constitution? And I'm not saying I don't really know. I'm just saying, like, this is some of the arguments that I've heard him illustrate. And I think these are fair things to discuss as a country. Like, if we have a constitution that was based on largely Christian values and rights, then if we change sort of the structure of the nation, they can change the Constitution over time.
Well, here's the first thing.
They can change the laws.
First thing that popped into my mind was more holidays from the school. Like, when we were growing up, it was literally Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, right?
Yes.
And now, like, there's Jewish holidays now where the kids are off of school. Integrate Muslim holidays.
Because they own us. You know that, right?
I mean, you never know. You never know. But anyway, the school holiday calendar will just grow bigger and bigger, and kids will be less educated. And I think that's what they want.
Yeah. What's this next clip?
Next clip is kind of take two of where Democrats, especially feminism, putting men against women. And so this clip is where
this is another great point.
They think these younger people, they are less and less getting married, right? Or they're waiting until they're older to get married.
Yes.
And not starting families.
And women are being told through Wave 2 feminism that you basically don't have to respect guys. You don't have to be a traditional woman. You can do your thing.
Right.
You should prioritize an education over a family. And there's probably instances where that's fine. However, like, that's not really what men want. So they're feeling disenfranchised in the system because now they're sort of not getting what they want, but they're expected to do what traditional men have done.
Yeah, it's actually
I'll play it.
Okay.
I'll play it. You can gather your thoughts. Sorry.
Okay.
Let me get this out.
Well, you're going to freeze to death because it's not up to you. And the same is true for the relationship between men and women. You can say, I hate them, I don't want them, but you're not going to thrive, period. You will be miserable. And you just saw 3 miserable people right on the screen. Our society has systematically, knowingly or not, it's hard to know exactly how much was intentional, poisoned the relationship between young men and young women. And they've done it in a bunch of different ways. We could go on for hours on this topic, but the results tell the story. They're not getting married because they don't like each other. They don't know how to communicate with each other. And above all, they think they don't need each other.
Yes.
Yep.
Spot on. Like, particularly women are being told that they don't need men.
Right.
And they believe this.
Yeah.
Men, there's a poll. I saw a poll done on this.
Okay.
Where they asked women, do you need a man? And it was like, 2/3 said no.
Oh.
Men
How old were these people?
I think it was Gen Zs.
Okay.
And when they asked men, it was like heavy dominant. Yes, we need women in our lives. It was like 80% or something. And so there's this huge disconnect. Like, women don't think they need men. Men think they need women.
Well, what he also points out later is how narcissistic this generation is.
Yeah.
And we see it. We see it with, Gen Alpha too, like our boys' friends and our boys too. They have some tendencies, I would say. It's where parents, you got to hammer down and make sure they don't do that.
That's right.
But yeah, everybody's for themselves rather than thinking as a generation, as a whole, where it is, a man and a woman. We disagree, on occasion, but honey, I would say we complement each other.
Yeah.
Full circle.
I agree.
But yeah,
we disagree on a lot of stuff.
The less marriages, and I guess, I wonder why women think they don't need men. I'm curious that.
I think it's because that's what they're being taught, and they see it on social media, and they're going to colleges more. They're buying homes at a higher rate than men.
Right.
And women have much easier access to a man when they need a man, whether it's physically or otherwise. Like, they can just get one. You can just go out and get one. It's much easier. So, there's the simple statistics that they found this through Tinder and apps, dating apps, but women will swipe right something like 90% of the time. So they're swiping for a top tier guy.
They want a good looking person.
Even if they're so the 3s expect they're going to get a guy that's a 9. Meanwhile, the guys that are 3s are accepting of a woman that's a 3. You know what I mean? In terms of their expectations are much more reasonable. And women's expectations have been largely morphed through feminism and media. And it's like, well, if he's not doing what you want, then you just get rid of him. And we've made divorce super simple. Yep. I mean, even outside of obviously abuse and verbal or physical, not tolerated, but you can just get divorced because I'm not feeling it anymore, right? I'm not oh yeah, you go, girl, take his money and get out of there.
Yeah.
And then it's encouraged, right?
Yeah, it used to be frowned upon.
Yeah.
Imagine again back in our day.
Yes,
families were going through a divorce.
How many times do you see divorced people and are like, yeah, I'm just so proud of her because she left him and screw that guy. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, it's never one side. It's usually a combination. And so there's been this weird shift of almost celebrating a woman leaving a man versus well, what's going on here? That's not good. That's not good for society. Well, that's not good for the children. How many kids at our kids' school have parents that are split? It's sad. And and we know these people. It's so sad.
We're at the age, or even in our marriage, where the next step for a lot of these people is divorce. About people who have kids our age right now, it's pretty much, are they a strong marriage or they're getting divorced? And again, it'd be the 50-50, right? Or I know divorce rates used to be 50-50.
It's higher than 50% now.
Is it? Well,
it hasn't gone. I don't think it's trended too differently in the last decade or so, but it's definitely easy. And you have what do they call it? No fault divorce.
Yeah.
So if you
a free pass.
Yeah, if you get caught with the Arizona Cardinals football team, then no fault. You get equal rights to everything in the relationship, and so and it would go vice versa. So I don't know. like these things don't make sense. Okay, we got another clip here. Let's do this.
This one's more on, I believe, the economy. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Again, why men are drifting towards the Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
They can't have anything. They can't own anything.
Yeah, this is
and rather than
unaffordable for young men.
Even spend a day thinking through, like, how do we fix this? The answer is, well, we'll just import people who are grateful for what they're getting here, because the differential between what they got at home and got here is pretty big.
It's true.
Like if you're from Oaxaca or Bangalore, like, not owning a home in your 30s is fine. You never expected to own a home anyway. So you're just happy to be here, and you're grateful to people who brought you, and you'll vote for them. That is literally their thinking. And it's demonstrable. It's their thinking. But for people who were born here, what a betrayal. What a terrible betrayal. And worse than a betrayal. Here's just an overview of it.
Buying a home has never been.
That's very true. And I would like to say, yeah, why the immigrants are coming over here, taking the jobs.
Well, we've designed it that way. Like,
I'm also,
I mean, the corporations want cheap labor. Our government wants cheap labor. We have a reproduction crisis, so they've imported, people so that they can keep paying into the system, Social Security. Like, they have to augment the replacement rate. So, since people aren't having children.
Just you speaking like that is exactly why these kids go to Nick, and they think America first. Like,
America
you're
first.
Not helping these young people.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's undoubtedly legitimate points to this movement that he's got. I think there's some like extremism to it, but I mean, think about how hard it is to buy a home. And when you're a young man, like, this is what you dream of, most young men nowadays. Well, maybe it's different. Maybe they dream of being a gamer and smoking doobies in their parents' basement. But for me, it was get a good job, buy a home, build wealth, find a good woman, have a family, create younglings that can live and prosper, and you can provide a better life for them than the life that you had, and on and on and on. Right?
Yeah, that's something Tucker pointed out, of like, a parent's job is to have their kids have a better life than what
that's the goal
you and I had.
That's the goal. And if you can incrementally do that for multiple generations, that's the goal. That's what we think about. Like, that's what I think about. I had a good life. My kids they're having it better than I did. And I'm hoping that their kids have it better than them. But there are things that come along with that are required. Like, you have to learn how to face adversity, how to struggle, how to suffer. And so it's not all just like kittens and rainbows. Like, you've got to still go through and do the work. And so that's why a parent's job is so hard, I think, because you have to sort of put adversity into your kids' lives. You have to let them suffer. Otherwise, they will not be better than you.
And I think that's a problem with our generation as parents. You see a lot of people who are very soft. They don't discipline their kids.
Yeah.
And their kids get everything.
Yes.
And a lot of people are aware of that. And I think they try to, volunteer and show their kids some other things. But I think too many parents are soft. Remember, like, Max's team gets a freaking medal after every
participation medals.
Yeah. It's so, like, we never got that. No. It's ridiculous. And they just hang on our freaking wall. Like, it's disgusting.
Well, he tossed them.
No, he still has. I don't think he tossed them.
Oh, he said he was going to. Okay.
Anyway. But yeah, I think people are soft. One thing, though, in that clip, the guy talks about home ownership, but then they also talk about the debt, about credit cards.
Yeah.
A lot of
it's the only way you can, like, buy stuff.
Well, and if you go further into the episode, I recommend people watch it, because it is an eye-opener for the younger generation. Like, we need to know why these people are thinking this way. I think Tucker gets it well, and it's Nikki Haley's son who he then interviews. And he is saying, we're all doing what we were told. You go to school, we get an education. Now we're $100,000 in debt.
Right.
We can't pay for a home. We have to pay off these lenders. And Tucker then goes, why are we it's like a drug addiction.
It is.
We're always pointing at the drug dealer, or no, we're pointing at the druggie.
Yes.
Rather than the drug dealer.
The addicts.
And then he compared that to credit card lenders versus borrowers.
Yeah.
Where it's like the payday, he talks about payday loans, and you see them on the side of the street, and you are kind of like, oh, who gets the payday loan there? And actually a lot of people do. And we're punishing those people who are trying to pay off their loans by charging them, 500, 600% interest just to pay back that monthly rate. I mean, I could be speaking way over
time. Yeah, I would get to that. But there are like predatory lending habits that are out there. And I guess, we allow that. I mean, there is like a risk balance to it, but yeah.
That's where, devil's advocate is like, well, you want to be paid back 100%.
Yeah. People that are giving you a loan want to be paid back for the risk that they're taking, because in some cases they don't get paid back.
Right.
But could we have regulations around that? The best case would be we just stop inflating the currency, so things stop getting so much more expensive, and then people can afford it without having to put everything on a credit card. And we stop government collusion. And so the biggest to me, and we've talked about this, but like the biggest issue to me is the addiction is actually with the government. The government is setting the standard in terms of debt. They're taking on more debt every year. It's a third of our budget is put on a credit card. Think about in your home, if a third of everything that you spent was just put on a credit card, right? That would not like end well. But they know that they can keep printing money, inflate the currency, makes the debt cheaper. But at the same time, it makes all assets more expensive, and it makes people that don't have any assets poorer because their dollars are worth less. And so this, in my opinion, is the major problem of the modern era of fiat currency and what it's done to the country. It has artificially blown up the economy to some extent, but that's a short-term gain for a real like problematic long-term outcome in wealth disparity. And these young generations are feeling it.
Yeah. The buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
Or these kids don't do cash transaction. We all have Venmo. We all have, or you could just do paperless on your phone, right?
And it doesn't feel real. It's like,
no, it's almost like just,
that's the way they want it.
It's a game. It's like Monopoly money, like when we play with the boys.
And there's funky stuff that happens between government and institutions like our education institution. Think of the fact that like the government guarantees student loans.
Yeah.
Okay, now that takes all risk off of the educators. They can
teach whatever they want.
They can teach what they want, pump up the tuition fees to whatever they want, and they know they're going to get paid back because the government has guaranteed it. Similarly with subsidies for Obamacare, Affordable Care Act. Think what you will about the act itself, but the fact that the government is paying the subsidies, not to the person,
right, to the big company.
They're paying it directly to the insurance company. So then the insurance company's like, this is great.
Yeah.
I get paid.
Yeah.
Like repeatedly on time, and I'm going to jack up my prices, and they're going to still pay. So I think there is this funky like lobbyist collusion that's happening with these institutions, and we need to get them out of government, put risk back into their portfolios. Because if you had to pay the insurance companies directly, people would be like, well, wait a minute, why are you charging me this much for this? And it would put stress on them, and I think that would change a lot.
Or even banks, like talk about loans.
Same.
It's, the crisis in 2008. They got bailed out by us, our taxpayer dollars.
Imagine they took all the risk.
They put themselves at risk, and they should. Nobody's punished. This is this soft parenting. The government is soft parenting.
Yes, they are the overarching helicopter parent.
Yeah.
How about this? I'll put up this last clip.
Okay, this was just overall, I thought it was funny, but it's somewhat true. We've talked about this.
How did we get here? This was not the case.
I think they're all confused. I think they have no idea what to make of it because we didn't make it. It's not our fault. We didn't do anything. It was the previous generation. Exactly. They should answer. So I think we're all just like, what just happened? How come it's harder for us? And they have no idea. And they shouldn't have any idea because they're not doing anything wrong. They're getting educated. For the most part, they're hard workers. Not, you have some issues with Gen Z with work ethic, but when they want to work, they will work and they're good at it.
There are only two kinds of Gen Z employees. We were just laughing about this last week. My college roommate and I. They're either like just total pothead losers, or they're like the most impressive kids you've ever met.
No in between.
Is that's not our imagination?
Oh no, that's very accurate.
What is that?
I don't know.
It's so true.
Spot on.
Like, if you think about,
That's spot on.
I'm sure you can think of people that I'm thinking of now where it's like one is a freaking hard ass worker and the other one is a lowlife.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally probably in every generation, but I was like, oh my gosh. And that it's only more accurate because marijuana is legalized and everybody's taking it now and they're getting freaking dumber. And Gen Z was probably the parrot for that.
You know, I have a theory about this, but I think we made a huge mistake incentivizing marijuana over nicotine. Marijuana makes you docile and lazy and hungry.
More control. They got more control over you.
Nicotine, maybe the instrument of getting it into people wasn't ideal, but nicotine essentially like makes you more driven, sharp, right? So, and more studies are coming out on this. And now you're seeing things like Zyn and stuff that people are taking. But I think it's like somewhat intentional. They want to dumb down and make society lazy because then we just won't ask questions. He's like, oh, government, take care of me. I didn't get my check. I want to play some Fortnite today. You know,
that's what it's going to be. Like, we have two boys. We got one real hard worker. The other one, a great hard worker. But he would rather play video games all day.
If we let him.
Right.
Yeah. And
so, like,
a lot of people, like, look at the comments that we get. A lot of people are like, just let him play video games, man. And you know, they're all long-haired, basement-dwelling doobie smokers that are saying this. Or people don't understand what, like, identity they are. Like, this is their struggle in life. It's like, what's my identity? So, you know, we push our kids. We have expectations of them. We could do parenting on another time, but like, I look at this a couple of ways. I think these younger generations are in trouble, but if you raise your kids right with discipline and responsibility, they're just going to run over the rest of them. These doobie smokers, they're not going to do anything. So they're going to rake up on those opportunities because, but at the same time, the masses will vote against their own self-interest.
I was going to say,
and they'll require
one versus many.
Yes, they'll require more from the productive class.
Yeah, it's more like, was it 1984?
Yeah, well, and it kind of goes back to like, at some point, you run out of productive people's money or labor.
Yeah.
Right. And so other people are going to have to get in there.
Right. Socialism.
Yeah.
Well, we went really far over, but I thought this topic was very relevant. And, you know, I don't know, I think our demographic's more male. And so maybe you guys have some insight on, how you feel politicians are or the world in general towards, not to be racist, but like white men are definitely frowned upon these days.
Yeah.
So
it'd be great to get some comments. Like, why do you think these younger generations are so interested in the Fuentes message? Because we are trying to learn more about this. I'm going to try to get a Groyper on our podcast. Okay. This would be fun. Because I really want to dig into this. Just like we had, in fact, today we published a teen communist. And we got another teen communist coming up. And these are sharp young men. So I'd like to get a Groyper on just so like we unpack all this. And the more we talk to these people, the more we learn.
Or like in closure to that, Mandami.
Yeah, he just got elected.
He got elected, but I saw one clip. This was the only clip I really saw of him where he was in the mayoral debate with a whole bunch of them. It wasn't just Silouan Coma at the end.
Yeah.
And they were asked, where would your first trip overseas be? And everyone said Israel. And Mandami said, why would I go overseas? I am here for New York.
I'm the mayor of New York.
Spot on. That is what anyone should have said.
Yes.
Like, you're a freaking mayor.
I think
you stay in your city. Karen Bass, did you hear that?
Yeah. Please. He may have won the election there.
I know.
Because that's what people want to hear. Like, I don't need you going to Israel. I need you taking care of the city that you're the mayor of.
But see, this is where maybe talking points of the government of helping foreign aid. Like, you do need to have like a friendship over there, especially Middle East.
Yeah, foreign policy is absolutely important, but for not for the mayor of New York or LA.
Yeah.
Like, leave that. We have people in federal government.
But I get what I'm saying is Mandami was America first.
Yeah.
And like, that's what these Gen Z and everyone else. That's what they want.
You know, I would say this kind of goes into horseshoe theory, right? We have, like, we just had a couple kids on the podcast that are communist, like self-proclaimed communists. Teenagers. And then you have the Groypers. And so there's like this far right faction and this far left faction in this horseshoe theory that are drifting to the extremes because they're not seeing the light in the middle anymore. And I don't blame them for being disenfranchised of what's happening. And so some are looking for solutions this way and some are looking that way. And this is where I think we got to like find solutions that are more in the middle, because that's where it's got to land. Otherwise we're going to have, ugly stuff. Yeah. Well, how about with this? We'll
play some music.
We'll close it out. I'll play some tunes. Thanks for those of you that joined in, and we'll get this published ASAP. Okay.
ASAP. Peace.